Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Yuria podcast. We are on episode 4 of season 4 of the podcast. And for this week, as a reminder, we are not recording this live in the Blue House. So this episode is going out in the Blue House. It's also going on the Yuria YouTube channel as well. So if any of you in the Blue House particularly enjoy this episode, it's even easier than ever to share this with somebody who you care about and to encourage them to be Yuria as well. I'm just saying. This is, we will be back though, housekeeping note for Blue House members, we'll be back on Zoom next week. So on the 26th of April, we'll be back using the same link as always, and we'll get to do the podcast together and then share the activation together as well. With that reminder, mentioning of activations, I want to encourage you. In fact, today's activation is a declaration and a prayer. So we're going to declare and pray that together. But I would encourage you, whether you're in the Blue House or whether you are enjoying this on YouTube, I would encourage you, yes, pray with us and then explore it with God. Ask him and ask him again and help him to ask him to help you to really to live it out. That will make more sense when we get there. I'm just saying. With that reminder as well, that if you're not a member of the Blue House and you're enjoying the podcast, you always have that invitation to come and join us in the Blue House. We don't have it open and closed at certain times of the year. It's always open because I don't know when you're going to need it exactly. So if you don't already have a community that is a safe space online away from traditional social media, because our community is not on Facebook, it's on its own platform. If you don't yet have that safe space to walk out the fullest expression of you being you in intentional, expectant relationship, I would encourage you to consider joining us in the Blue House. yuria.com/join is where you can do that. The other advantage to you as well, I'm just looking at my calendar, is if you do join this week, we're having our one-day event on Sunday. The last Sunday of every month we get together, except for December. December is Christmas Day this year, as it transpires. I won't keep saying that, don't worry. But we're having our next one-day event on Sunday, and it's called A Real Rest. And we're going to be exploring how to walk out the unforced rhythms of grace. There is a page that you can go to, yuria.com/one-day-event. I will link to that underneath this video as well for you on YouTube. But there's a video there that will explain a little bit more about what we're going to be getting up to. We're having 2 sessions on Sunday and they're recorded. So whether you're in the Blue House or whether you join us as just for the day, you will have access to the recordings as well. And with all of that said, I think that's the end of the announcements. Oh, except for YouTube, folks. If you're not already subscribed to the Yuria YouTube channel, please do that. Turn on notifications, because then you'll get notified when the next video goes live, which will be about Wednesday, Thursday next week. Just saying, because we're going to record it live on Tuesday, then it needs to be edited and tidied up, and then it gets posted onto YouTube. So, right, with all of that said, that really is the end of the announcements, and we're going to get cracking with today's episode of the podcast. So, today's episode of the podcast is another story from when I was out walking my dog, Molly. As an aside, our other little dog, Charlie, he passed away in January 2021. And it was really hard. We'd never lost a dog before. And at the time, my husband and I were like, we are never doing that again. When at some point Molly goes, I can't, it hurts too much. I am fast coming to the conclusion that either I need to get comfortable walking on my own, or we're going to need to get another dog, because I've been sort of blown away really by the number one, the conversations I get to have, the people you get to meet with and interact with, which for someone like me who loves sort of doing life with people is great, but also these stories as well. This new season of the podcast, as you would know by now, incidentally, if you're brand new, there are 3 other episodes you can go back and enjoy if you'd like to. But if you're not brand new, you will know by now the format for season 4 of the podcast is I share a little story of something that God was highlighting, usually when I'm out walking the dog. Hence why I think we're going to have a dog in our life for a very long time. Either that, or we shall see how things go. Anyway, so today's story, I was out walking the dog, as I invariably am, and we'd done our little route, and I was just coming around the corner, and then something caught my eye in the tree, and I looked up, and it was a little squirrel, a wirrel. And it was not, I'm in the UK, as you'll have gathered from the accent, for those of you who don't know me, and it wasn't a red squirrel. We have most of our red squirrels, I believe, are now extinct. We have grey squirrels instead. Although occasionally I do see one that's red and grey, I'm just saying. But this one was definitely grey. And he was very definitely being camouflaged by the tree. And so I looked up and caught my eye, and I sort of went round the other side, and he was doing his best to hide away, but I managed to catch a little glimpse of him, and he was really cute. I know some people, they don't like squirrels. They particularly don't like grey squirrels because they made the red ones all die out. But I still think they're really cute. They're like little animals, and their little tails are quite sweet. With his little front feet, he's quite cute. So I think it was just a lovely little moment, and I just enjoyed seeing him like scamper up the tree. But then, as he sometimes does, Holy Spirit sort of like did the God version of like putting like arrows around this moment. So when I got home, I sat with my notebook and okay, God, what are you saying? And it was that reminder that what happens in the physical world around us is a mirror or a shadow of what's going on in the spiritual world. And so in the physical world around us, if we get fixated on exactly where we're going, eyes down, end point in mind, or if we go very fast from where we are to the point we're trying to get to, we are in danger of missing those little random delightful moments in the day. Now, did seeing a little squirrel or a wibble, am I the only one who calls them wibbles? I'm sure I probably am not. But sorry, random. Sorry, not sorry. My point is, there was nothing in terms of like life goals and achieving stuff. There was nothing about that moment of seeing a little squirrel up in the tree that added to that. However, it made me smile. And it was lovely. And it was a nice little moment. And even as I reflect on that little squirrel and seeing him scampering up the tree, it makes me smile again because of the way that our minds are created. We can get happiness from a moment, but we can get happiness from the memory of a moment as well. And as an aside, we can also get happiness from the anticipation of a moment, if it's one that we're planning for. I could not have happiness from the anticipation of the moment of seeing the squirrel because I didn't know it was going to happen. But this is why actually, as an aside, it's powerful. If you've got a trip coming up, you can enjoy the anticipation of the trip, the planning, what we're going to do, we're going to see, and all that stuff. Then you get pleasure from the actual event itself. And then the real reason why we take photos is to capture those moments so that we can then reflect on them afterwards. So it's like getting 3 moments of happiness from one event, if you like. So in the big scheme of things, this moment with the squirrel meant nothing. However, it did make me happy, and it did bring a little moment of joy into my day. And so the reminder I had from God is the same is true in the spiritual as well, is if we go too fast and we get too fixated on the goal of where we're trying to get to, we're going to miss out on the wonder and the delight that God has for us. God says he has many wonderful and delightful things to share with you. So he's inviting you to ask him to open all of your senses, to allow him to speak to you in many different ways. And this is, of course, the motivation behind the way that this particular season of the podcast is structured. You are having the opportunity to see and hear different stories of different ways that God showed up in random little ways, some big ways, some small ways, all of those things. So they are demonstrations to you, they are reminders to you, because yes, these are little stories from my life, but the same will be true for you as well. He has many delightful, wonderful things he wants to show you. And so our prayer and our declaration, I'm going to share this with you now, and I would encourage you to keep on keeping on with this. God, open all of my senses to see, hear, taste, touch, and smell you afresh. Let me experience all of the senses of heaven. I am open to experiencing you anew today. And this is something that we can declare together in this moment, but it's also something that you can declare and say to God on a day-by-day basis. Open all of my senses to experience heaven. Have you ever asked God, what do you smell like? God, what do you sound like? I would encourage you to ask him those questions, because remember, that's the essence of you here. You in that intentional, expectant relationship. You can ask things expecting an answer. As a reminder, season 4 of this podcast, we are intentionally focusing on the IER. We've had in previous seasons quite a lot of pieces where we've been exploring what it means for you to be you in relationship with God. And we'll go back there again as well, of course, and we might touch on it in the meantime as well. But really, I feel like God's heart for this particular season it's an invitation to hear his heart in new ways fresh ways, with the understanding as well, of course, like we've said before, that word here is limiting, because that limits it to just what goes out of the mouth and into the ears. And he's not just speaking to you through words. As these different stories are illustrating, he can speak to you through many different things. So I would encourage you every day, ask him, open all of my senses to see, hear, touch, and taste and smell you afresh. Let me experience all of the senses of heaven. I'm open to experiencing you anew today, because God loves you so much. He's not holding back on you. He's not sort of sitting there. It's like he made the world and now he's like, let it run off in its own course. He's moving and working and active in your life, and he wants to partner with you. So if as an aside, and this has just come up now, if this brings up stuff for you, if this idea of asking God to open all of your senses is a tricky one, if you're a member of the Blue House, share that in the morning room. Share those pieces, because the more that we can do life together and be transparent about what is going on, we can support each other. But it also, if you have something that comes up, I can pretty much be sure that you won't be the only person that's ever felt like that. And so it helps dismantle this lie that it's just us. The enemy doesn't want you to share life out loud. The enemy wants to keep you quiet and silent. Oh, I can't possibly say that out loud because I'm the only one. No, that's not true. It's never just you. And so the more that you share and you show up and are transparent about stuff, yes, it will help you, because people can come alongside you and lift you up. And if you need ideas and support and specific concrete stuff, we can give you that. But more than anything, this is about coming together in community. And at the same time, you will demonstrate to other people that it's not just them, because it's never just you. And so that wasn't in my notes, but it just sort of pinged in my head. So we're going to assume that that's a little bit of a God nudge, because he knows who watches and listens to these episodes. So if that's pinging and nudging you, know that God interrupted this whole episode especially for you. That's how precious you are to him. With all of that said, that reminder, if you're not a member of the Blue House and you'd like to do life with us together, I'd encourage you to come and join us. And if you are a member of the Blue House, yay! I look forward to hearing from you in the morning room. And we will be back to normal next week. We'll be recording the podcast on Zoom using the usual Zoom room link. And yes, that was quite hard to hear. No, to say. I'll be back very, very soon. But as always, thank you for being here. I look forward to catching up with you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.